and tonight we are playing the house in Fata Morgana, and playing is, it's a loose term. This is a visual novel. This is a through and through reading and, letting the story unfold, long form visual novel. Absolutely, go ahead. In fact, you may be able to just do it with this. Maybe it won't show up, but either way, clip it. Absolutely. And I was hanging out in Tay's stream a little earlier today. This is a story of a house, right? We, the player character, we don't know who we are. We woke up in this chair on the right, in this old, run-down, cobwebs all over the walls, dusty, decrepit house. This is the story of a house. And what's up, Lurking Horror? Hi. Ollie, hello. Welcome. And we are being led through this old house by this maid who refers to us as Master. We don't know who she is. We don't know who we are, even. And she is taking us across time through each door of this old house and explaining the prior residents of the home. I'll flip through a couple of them here for you. People that have come through its doors, because legend has it that the house is cursed. And inside this house, anyone who lives within its walls are stricken by misfortune. And, sadness kind of looms over them. And so we have gone through the history of this home, through the 1600s, 1700s. We are in the third story in the mid-1800s, where this little slimy motherfucker, Jacopo, is the head of the household. And he is a power-hungry investor in the rapid, technologically advancing age who is investing heavily in the railroad. And there are two constants in every single one of these stories. What's up, Stan? There are two constants. The maid is always there, and she's always the same. She's always alive across hundreds of years. She's always, has the same disposition, the same demeanor, as well as this white-haired girl. Now, the white-haired girl changes her appearance across the course of these different stories, but her demeanor, her disposition, her character remains the same, even though she doesn't have her memories across time. So we're kind of unfolding this overarching mystery about who we are, who she is, who the maid is, what is going on in this home over the course of hundreds and hundreds of years, and why is everybody that lives within its walls, plagued by misfortune. This is a very intense story. I do have an advisory for it that I just want to shout out to everybody. The House of Fata Morgana is very intense. It has depictions of child abuse, suicide, torture, racism, incest, sexual assault, homophobia, transphobia. It shows a lot of reprehensible situations and a lot of very, very, very intense trauma. It is a story about, overcoming and processing the intense trauma of your life, finding love in this world that's full of, hardship and vitriol and hate, and seeking acceptance in the face of tragedy and etc. Very intense. Very intense. I just want to say, if any of this is, hits too close to home, if any of this makes you uncomfortable, if any of this is, something that, you just err to the side of caution on it, and if you got to bounce, I completely understand. We are 6 weeks into this thing. We're about 15 hours in. I'm going to be going into reading mode here reading the events of this story in real time. We got characters, we got voices, and it's a good time. It's a good time. So thank you again for the raid. Snow, good luck on your Destiny raid. And now we're going to get into things here. Thank you so much again. Perfect timing, Nev. We were about to start. I hadn't even read the first line of dialogue, and your raid got perfect timing. I'm going to be getting some food. Thank you for the warm welcome. Be lurking. Hey, thank you so much. And for everybody else, again, I stream 4 nights a week. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Sunday. All first playthroughs for me. Anything under the sun. We're currently playing through the original Final Fantasy, like the 1990 US release NES original Final Fantasy. I'm playing through Clive Barker's Undying, which is a PC horror first-person shooter from 2001. And we're playing tonight, continuing the house in Fata, Morgana. Meme Slinger, I can do you one better. I can read you about 3 hours worth of a visual novel. Ready? Here we go. The Pacific Railroad's last spike ceremony was drawing nearer by the day. That day was, coincidentally, the deadline the two of them had set for themselves. Jacopo to confront his wife, and the white-haired girl to wait for him. And as that day approached, she continued to write letters. She wrote the letters purely by force of habit, despite having been worn visibly thin. I expect that she could not stop, that the act of writing was all that kept her from going mad. By focusing her attention on another person through her letters, she was able to maintain her grip on herself. But that day would put an end to her suffering and despair. When the railroad was completed, all their misunderstandings would be cleared up. They would return to the smiling, happy couple they had been when they were first married. The harsh winter would finally come to a close, melting away into the past and allowing them to step into the future. With constant prayer in my heart, I impatiently awaited the railroad's opening ceremony. I do not, after all, wish for anyone to fall into any kind of misfortune. And that goes for you as well, Master. Now, Master, the door is soon to be shut upon this era. Are you prepared to see what happens next? I see. Very well. Then allow us to make our way to that final day. See with your own eyes, Master, how this tale concludes. And please, do not let go of my hand. We're back. We're back. The night before the opening ceremony, the master of the house headed for his wife's shed. There was a tension on his face, but a surety in his step. He had found the resolve to speak with her. Having locked her away for so long in the shed like a common prisoner, Jacopo was hardly optimistic about what she might say to him. He had undeniably mistreated her, said heartless and cruel things to her, and even gotten physically violent with her. His actions were inexcusable, even if they were in response to her infidelity. Of course, the very infidelity which has driven him to such behavior had not, in fact, taken place, but he was unaware of that. There was a chance they would never reconcile their misunderstandings, and that this predicament would not have a positive resolution, but he still clung to a tiny fragment of hope. He wanted to start over with the white-haired girl, to make a new future with her. With that desire burning strong in his heart, he stood before the door to her shed and called out to her. "Hey, you awake? It's me, Jacopo. May I come in? I won't hurt you. I will not raise my hand against you again. I swear to you, I will do you no harm. I wish to speak. You know, I'd like to have a calm, rational conversation. And as such, I will not enter your room until you have given me your permission. So, may I please come in?" You won't even give me a response. Alright. Considering how you must feel about me, I shouldn't be surprised. Fine, then you don't have to let me in. But please, at least hear me out. Do you remember the day shortly after we first met, when we went on our honeymoon? If you can even call the little walk we took a honeymoon. I wasn't able to do anything nice for you then either. I had no experience, no idea how to interact with an upper-class woman like you. I didn't know what I should do for you. And yeah, I know, that just makes me sound juvenile. I have a tendency to say things I don't mean the more perturbed I get. I'm sure I said things to hurt you numerous times that day. However, at the photography shop, I saw the word. When you saw the phenakistoscope, you smiled for me. I was genuinely pleased in that moment. I felt like I'd gotten closer to you. I very much doubt that this was actually an appropriate present for a noble woman like yourself. Jewels or flowers or something like that, something beautiful, would have certainly suited you better. And I knew that, but I assumed you would have been given gifts like that countless times in the past. You are, after all, a beautiful woman. I didn't want to have to compete on the same field as those other men. I wanted to be special. No, I wanted to be unique to you. No one had ever shown you anything of the sort before, had they? Frankly, I wasn't sure if a woman of your status would take any interest in a phenakistoscope at all. I imagine you've thrown it out by now, but I choose to believe you sincerely liked it on that day. That if just for a moment I caught your eye. Even if you started seeing other men afterwards, that moment was real, wasn't it? Our marriage was at its core nothing but an arrangement between our parents, an exchange of money and influence. That's how it began, but that day I loved you. I yearned to see you smile as if I had loved you my entire life. The Pacific Railroad has finally been completed. That's the project I've been funding. Everyone thought it was crazy, but a railroad now stretches across the breadth of this country. A joining ceremony will be held tomorrow. It's gonna be a grand event. Locally, they're planning on doing a gun salute. And the sound of the last spike being driven into the ground will be transmitted across the country via telegraph. I've procured a telegraph so we can listen to it here in the mansion. In your condition, you would probably have trouble handling the crowds at the telegraph station. But here, you could celebrate in the comfort of your own home. I suppose what I'm saying is, I want to celebrate this with you. I've made arrangements to make that possible for you because I wish to have you there, with me. Would you be willing, tomorrow, to celebrate the completion of the Pacific Railroad with me? Would you be there at my side? Please, say something. I want to start over. I know very well what I've done to you. Hey, listen, you may be at fault yourself, but what I did is unacceptable. But what I did was a consequence of my overpowering love for you. I swear it. Why? Why will you not answer me? Say something, anything. Please, please. You can hear me in there, can't you? If you don't want to, you can just say no. If you do reject me, I'll set you free. I won't hurt you, I promise. The door is not locked. Who opened it? Hello? A humid spring breeze brushed against his cheeks. Looking hard, guys are always sending me unsolicited phenakistoscopes in my Twitter DMs. When I saw Twitter DMs, it made me think that, the only reason Jacopo was able to say everything he just said is because he was just speaking at a wall. He was just sending a DM bomb at a brick wall, at a wooden wall. Because he wouldn't have been able to get any of that shit out if he was looking at somebody in the face. Trying to grab the little dancing couple through my computer screen and getting upset that it doesn't work. A humid spring breeze brushed against his cheeks. The drawn lace curtains appeared to glow in the gentle moonlight. The white-haired girl was not in her room. Where have you gone? Stupefied, he glanced about his wife's chambers. Earth nuggets. Listen, I know you can hear me. That little blue check mark. I saw it. It lit up. Please just say something. To my eyes, the neatly organized room appeared no different than any other day. But to his eyes, it was pale and hollow. For the one who was supposed to be there, who was supposed to be waiting for him, was not present. He could not hear her voice from anywhere in the shed. In its place echoed a dry rustling, a sad, pitiful, empty whisper of a noise. It came from the lone object left abandoned atop her desk. The phenakistoscope. It was the one present Jacopo had ever given the white-haired girl, a toy made of paper. When spun and viewed in a mirror, it created the illusion of a man and a woman dancing. You still had this? That's ridiculous. I assumed you had thrown it out. The white-haired girl had evidently made considerable use of the phenakistoscope. The paper was visibly worn and tattered, warped in places, and had even begun to yellow. It spun slowly in the wind, rustling and rustling and rustling, spinning in an endless reminder of that day the year before, though there was no longer anyone around to look through it. Why? But you were with other men. Why would you keep something I gave you? It's so worn. Why? A letter. Beneath the ever-rotating phenakistoscope lay a single sheet of paper. As if drawn to it, he scanned the contents of the parchment. It was a letter addressed to Caro mio Jacopo. The salutation, written in his native language, translated as follows: My beloved Jacopo. Did the fruits of your dream turn out as you had hoped? I am sure it was wonderful and impressively fast. A train that can travel across a continent as large as this is like something out of a story. I wish I could have been there to see it. I am sure it would have been quite pleasant, like the day you gave me the Fenacus wheel. Am I being presumptuous? I'm sorry. I thought I would keep waiting for you forever, no matter how much you hated or ignored me, but I made up my mind, so I'm sorry. I decided I would wait for you until the railroad was completed. I foolishly thought that you might invite me to the opening ceremony, but it seems I'm not good enough for you. I'm going to take my leave of your house, so you needn't concern yourself with me any longer. However, I do have one request. Please do not forget about all the letters I wrote. Think back on them from time to time. Do not burn them all, for they contain my thoughts, my feelings, my words. A record of my love for you. Remember when you can that I was always watching you. I'm sorry I'm having trouble writing. My ears are ringing. There's a voice whispering to me, calling me a witch. Maybe it's your voice. My vision is blurry. I'm not even sure what is going through my mind. I'm sorry this was all I was able to write for you. I'm truly sorry. I will leave the Fenacus wheel behind. It was my dearest treasure. Farewell. I loved you. 5/8/1869. Wow. What the hell is this? He was visibly rattled, and unsurprisingly so. The mention of the Transcontinental Railroad's opening ceremony, the letters she had written, her dearest treasure, her profession of love for him, and above all, the mangled text that appeared to have been written by someone not entirely in their right mind. Everything about it served to amplify his befuddlement. You waited for me? How can that be? The joining ceremony's tomorrow. It hasn't even happened yet. Why did you leave then? I'm here. I came for you, just as I planned. The ceremony's on the 10th. A second later, Jacopo gasped. The date written on the letter was the day prior, May 8th. Originally, the ceremony was planned to be held on May 8th, 1869. However, due to bad weather and a labor dispute, it had been postponed for 2 days. Oh, this can't be. I made sure you were informed. I had Maria. The madam's having an affair. Maria, no, you couldn't. Scattered fragments of memory began coming together in his mind. Maria was the only one who had informed him of his wife's supposed unfaithfulness. And though the letters had not been addressed to him, thinking back on it, they had all been about him. In one letter, she had mentioned treasuring a gift. Jacopo had assumed it meant a gift from another man. But in fact, she had been referring to the phenakistoscope sitting atop her desk, still spinning in the wind. At long last, he finally made that connection, and at the same time realized that the only person who could have altered the letters was someone they both trusted, Maria. Never. She never even once betrayed me. She was not unfaithful at all. She waited unwaveringly for me. And I refused to believe her. I caught her pain again and again, but his realizations came far too late. The white-haired girl's spirit had broken, and she was no longer at the mansion. Had he caught on to Maria's machinations sooner, things would not have turned out as they had. But he was much too late. Maria, why? Why would you do this? Clenching the letter from his wife, Jacopo stormed out of the shed in search of Maria. This doesn't go hard. Yeah, it's a long one. It's a long haul, Meme Slinger. But she was not in the room to sign to her. Where are you? Where have you gone? Maria! Several maids were roused from their slumber by the racket, but no one had the courage to speak up as the master of the house frantically charged through the halls. Eventually, he arrived at his own chamber. He was certain he had closed the door before leaving, but now, a sliver of light shone through the gap between it and the frame. From within the room, he thought he could sense someone's presence. And when he opened the door, there he saw, comfortably perched upon his own chair, a woman. I've been waiting, Jacopo. Oh, let's go. She's looking evil as hell. Nice room you got here. Though I guess that's only natural. You being the man of the house and all. All these fancy furnishings. You do know this stuff's too good for you, right? And then me. I get that barren little maid's room. Drives me up the wall. So hey, Jacopo. Clear the air with your little lady yet? Maria? I love that look on your face. I'm guessing you didn't make things better then. You know good and well that she's not even here anymore. Well, yeah, but I still want to hear you say it, you know? I want to hear it from your own mouth that you couldn't keep a leash on your woman, so you locked her up, drove her mad, broke her down, and then she ran away from you. Go on, say something. Climb back on your high horse and start shouting like you always do. Why, Maria? Why would you do this? Why? Why do you think? Because I fucking despise you. I've been trying to figure out how I wanted to end things, but then they just fell apart on their own. The fates are smiling down upon me, I guess. Nonsense. She was waiting for me until the day of the joining ceremony. And I was going to see her on that day. You knew the ceremony had been postponed. That's what you get for putting it all in my hands. For thinking I'm the only one on your side. What? Did you think I'd just tell her like a little good maid? Not a chance in hell. I mean, talk about some fantastic news. You both picked the same day, but you've got the dates different. Absolutely perfect. Maria, is that how you've always felt? How long have you held this grudge against me? How long? How long? How goddamn dense can you be? Must be nice living in your little fantasy world, Jacopo. And this is the next Capo Famiglia. Oh my god, my sides. So you've always hated me? At the very least. I fucking loathed you since the minute we had our reunion. At first, I did try to convince myself you had your reasons. Didn't make it feel any less unfair, though. You had all your money and all your power and everything else you stole from me. And then you go and get hitched to this pretty little lady. Oh, don't try to act like you're the victim here. This is all on you, you know. Do you have any idea how I felt? Fallen from grace made you goddamn maid? Having to suck up to you? Do you have any idea how infuriating all that was? Or did you think I didn't know anything? Did you think I didn't suspect anything? If you did, then you got your head way up in the clouds. So you were motivated by your grudge against my family, the Berzatis. Precisely. That's exactly it. Your father wanted so badly to be the Capo Famiglia, wanted so badly to be in power, that he murdered my dad and grandpa. They say it was a carriage accident, but the ground was all torn to hell where it happened. You want to tell me what kind of carriage accident causes it to explode? As soon as my dad and grandpa died, your dad took over as the Capo Famiglia. The balance of power in the factions began to change. My family and anyone with ties to the Campanellas was either exterminated or exiled. The Berzatis took control of the city. My grandpa's casca became your casca. No one in their right mind would be naive enough to think the Berzatis didn't have a hand in that. The great Campanella family, bitten by their pet dog. Except the dog had rabies. And as a result, in time, that lush, historic land will wither away and die. My dad and grandpa, buried in that dried up earth, are screaming in their graves even now. You can't prove me wrong, can you, Jacopo? And now, first in line to be the next Capo Famiglia is you, his son. Naturally. It feels pretty good, don't it? Slaughtering my family, leaving us to wallow in the mud, while you live here like a fucking king. Because of what your family did, I don't have a home to go back to anymore. No house, no prestige, I have nothing left. And that's goddamn outrageous. The Campanellas are supposed to run that city. But instead, you filthy Berzati curs are crawling over it like some kind of infestation. I am a legitimate Campanella, but I'm stuck being your goddamn maid. If I hadn't been born a woman, I could have been the Capo Famiglia after my dad and grandpa died. But because I'm a woman, I couldn't retaliate. I just had to sit on my hands and watch the tragedy unfold. It was absolutely miserable. So I had to make you suffer as well. I had to make you twice as miserable as I was. You had no reason to hate anyone but me. And why did you make her a part of this? Did you have some grudge against her too? Not particularly. I actually rather liked the madam. Sweet, pretty, kind-hearted, timid, and fragile. Trusted every word I said. A splendid little toy. You thought of her as your toy? Now, can you really call me out for that? You can't. You have no right. You never cared one bit about anyone else. They're all footstools to you. It's a little too late to find yourself in a sense of morality. This whole thing, it could have been avoided if you two just had a single conversation. But instead, the both of you come crawling to me, saying, "You're my only ally, Maria." How dense can you be? Of course, I thought you were my ally. I trusted you, as I'm sure she did too. Then you should get your eyes examined, 'cause you can't see a damn thing. Maria. My God, was it beautiful. The way you two blindly trusted me, creating your own misunderstandings and causing your own pain. How could you never seem to get on the same page? Watching it all fall apart. Maria, is that everything? The extent of your grudge, and all you did? Yep, that's everything. All that's left is for me to kill you. Yo! Hold still now. I wouldn't want to miss. Just sink in that shot for a second. Holy shit. Totally deranged. The old gun. Maria, does our past mean nothing to you? Was that oath just an empty promise? How could it, when you remember so clearly? Fine, I'll explain it for our little romantic boy. Bad grown-ups will even take advantage of good memories. It's time I finally returned this to you, Jacopo. That cartridge you gave me, packed with your disgusting sentimentality. Killing you ain't the end, though. All you Berzati curs. I'll send every last one of you straight to hell. My revenge has just begun. Even if you had been a man, you wouldn't have been a suitable capo famiglia. You should have aimed between my eyes, Maria. Jacopo! Ooh! Let's go! Why? Why? Dude, remember this guy got stabbed and was nursed back to life. In a panic, I pulled the trigger, and from the barrel a bullet went flying, quite literally right between her eyes. Would anyone ever believe me? If I said this wasn't how I wanted things to turn out? The rain just keeps on coming. Wonder if we'll be able to go home today. After she just did all that, she has the gall to ask why. Now you're getting it. Absolutely, Snarku. That's yep. There's the why death rattle is classic. We're 6 episodes into this thing. The whys just keep on coming. Now I want everybody who's here from the raid and everybody who hasn't seen other episodes. This emote, Beast Mode, is from this game. There's a lot of shit going on. It's there's a lot here. It's a dense tale. So this is the two of them, Jacopo and Maria, back in their homeland when they were just growing up. Hey, Jacopino, say something, you little wuss. Don't shout. I knew it was loud when you rattled off a literal list of... Right, exactly. Yeah. You're gonna give me a headache. The lightning's way louder on me. You jumped, Jacopino. You're such a baby. Hey, you jumped too, and stop calling me that. Don't be scared. Don't cry. I'm not crying. Your eyes are damp too. I'm not crying, not at all. Not one bit. Liar. There's no end to this rain, is there? I'm fine if it doesn't stop. There's nothing at home for me. You don't want to go home? Your parents don't get along, huh? That's got nothing to do with it. Liar. You've got it good. I can't do the little kids. They're so stupid. Everyone loves your grandpa. Whenever anyone needs something, they come to him. Now there's a great man. Huh? How did my grandpa become a part of this? Oh, no reason. Not everyone likes him. He gets just as much hate as love. Grandpa's not really a model citizen. He's mostly just shrewd. Are you jealous? I'm not. My old man is, though. Is he now? Well, your dad's got his good points, too, I think. Like, I don't know. He seems like the kind of man who can accomplish big things, though. He seems a lot stricter than my grandpa. Oh, come on. I don't get you. What are you clamming up for? No reason. If you don't want to go home, then how about we go somewhere far away from here? Huh? Once it stops raining, let's get out of here. Head up to the capital, find some work. We could make it work, just the two of us. Oh, and we'll bring Nero, of course. Nero's the little dog. In their little hideaway shack when they were kids. If we could, that would be nice. Break free of this city and its outdated traditions. Head somewhere bigger, more forward-thinking. If only it were possible. It's all right, Maria. I know you were just joking. We wouldn't be able to find work anyway. If the two of us ran off, we'd be starving in a month. You'd have to be blind not to see that. Right. Let's go home once the rain lets up. Yeah, once it does. But until then, I know, let's sing. Sing even louder than the lightning. Then maybe you'll stop crying, Jacopino. I am not crying. Come on, let's sing. La 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 lero, la lero, la li. La lero, la. I gotta screenshot that. I gotta screenshot that for KCG. I gotta screenshot that one. Maria, I may not put it into words, but I trust you understand that I consider you a dear friend.
Hey, listen to me, Jacopo. My actions were justified. I did what I did for the betterment of this city, this land. The Campanellas are too conservative. Under their control, this country will atrophy. Progress will continue to lose steam. If we don't push forward, we'll fall farther and farther behind. Before long, you'll be made the next Capo Famiglia. But until that day, you'll cross over to the New World and establish the Casca there. Unify us, bolster us, make us strong. I'll handle things back here. I won't let the Campanellas try and strike back. Huh? You want Maria to... it's dangerous to keep a Campanella so close by.
Oh, this idiot did it.
She has to be taken care of. If you insist, but do not let your guard down. Betrayal is a constant companion in this world. I'm giving you my revolver. Keep it on you at all times. Glory everlasting upon our blood and upon this earth.
I can't wait to get out of Italy. I can't wait to get out of Italian accents. The best I can give you is a job as my maid. If I show you any more obviously preferential treatment, the Berzattis are liable to step in. Money, power, respect, and enough authority to not take orders from anyone. I thought that if I could obtain all that, I'd be able to give you your freedom, and her as well. I wanted to give you both comfortable lives, but none of that got through to either of you. No, it's anti, like, me. It's me being bad in an Italian accent, self-loathing more than anything. I like mafia stories. I don't mind the actual... Sounds like it never got through to them because he never said any of that. Yeah, welcome to Jacopo. Welcome to Jacopo. Everything is slipping through my fingers. I love my friendship with Maria. Both of their smiles. Yo, the blood-soaked, honestly, changes the game. He's going Joker mode now. I barely know him an hour and I can point and just be like, that's an idiot. Yeah, we said the title of the last stream was Fedora Energy. And he's definitely got it in spades. Both of their smiles. Master! Master! What was that sound? So much blood. Maria? What happened this time? You keep getting stuck witnessing the worst things. Huh? What? Call a doctor. Someone with tight lips. Do not call the police. I actually own a fedora, and when I put it on, people freak out. Yeah, because with a fedora comes fedora energy. It may not be you, it's the aura that emanates from you once the hat's on your head. It changes people. He takes that fedora off, he's a totally different guy, guaranteed. But he just can't. That's him trying right here. That shot isn't him holding his head, it's him trying with all his might to take it off. And he can't. You see it's all crumpled and stuck? What happened this time? Boom, headshot. Decent person to douchebag. You got it. You got it. And don't make a scene, got it? If so, then go on. Hey, yes, sir. Right. Not everything slipped from my grasp. My money and influence are all that's left. That is what you wanted, though, is it not? You sought money and power, no? We'll go to maid mode. Aren't you gonna go? Yes, I will. But first, I would like to ask you something. What do you intend to do from here? What am I gonna do? Exactly the same as before. There's but one thing for me to do. I see. Will you eventually find solace in your riches? The way I see it, money and power can be your ally, but they can become your enemy in the blink of an eye. If you do not put them into words, your feelings will never make it through to anyone. For unlike money, humans are not measurable by their appearance. Wow. Yeah, I just fucking said that, lady. He failed to communicate to anyone what he held within his breast. He was chained down by his place in society, his pride, his relationships, and his own heart. And at some point he found himself in a position where he was no longer able to speak his mind. After enough time, he likely forgot how to be genuine at all. Or perhaps someone like him simply would not, even if they knew how. In any event, there are many things in this world that cannot be communicated without being put into words. So true. How sad that his tale should end without him expressing how he truly felt. How hard it must have been to never clear up his misunderstandings. After Jacopo's confrontation with Maria, the Pacific Railroad was completed as scheduled. Celebratory cheers shook the new world as the last spike was driven into the rails. Jacopo, however, could not even manage a smile listening to the telegraph. And I am sure you can take a guess as to why. The people with whom he wished to share that moment were not there. Shortly following her death, Jacopo held a private funeral for Maria. Then, he commenced a search for the white-haired girl. But he did not do so alone. He hired others to help, did everything in his power to find her, tirelessly searching for many, many years. However, he never was able to locate her, and he spent the remainder of his life alone. Money, power, renown, servants. The world around him was always quite lively, but solitude was his only companion. He waited and he waited and he waited for the white-haired girl to return. The years crawled by, and with no family or loved ones at his side to care for him into old age, he died alone. Welcome salutes in the chat for Jacopo dying alone. Was that it? Was that door 3? Whoa. Whoa. All right. Here we go. Here we go. New door time. So the way that this works, for Memeslinger and Snarku, each new door is a new standalone story. So the era of Jacopo is now behind us, and we're now about to welcome in a whole new slew of characters, a whole new cast in door 4. I wouldn't say standalone. You know what I mean. A new story nonetheless, right? The themes carry over, and like without getting into the big overarching stuff, hopefully, we will get to see the white-haired girl once again. The door before you slowly drew shut. You could no longer hear the raucous sounds of the men from within the den. The faint scent of cigarette smoke, however, lingered in the air. Staring vaguely at the closed door, you noticed something was amiss. The maid who had been holding your hand was no longer at your side. You glanced around, but she was nowhere in sight. Down the corridor stretched only darkness. Not having anticipated this, you were unsure how to react. What's the matter? You lost? Or are you just trying to take in the sights? A voice called out to you, but it was not the maid's voice. Caught off guard, you spun around confused in search of the source. Where are you looking? I'm over here. Yeah, there you go. Little more to the left. Following the voice instructions, you found yourself facing a wall. You look like you've just seen a ghost. Hey now, come on, don't turn away. Yep, you got it. I'm the one talking to you. The voice was coming from within the painting. When you had passed by this wall on your way to the third door, a magnificent landscape painting had been hanging there. But now, the canvas was a deep shade of black, as if it had been dipped into a vat of ink. Been a while since I've talked to anyone. So tell me, you can hear me all right, can't you? Splendid. Been so long since I've had a conversation, I was afraid I might have forgotten how to talk. So tell me, who might you be? You don't know? Well, isn't that quite the pickle? Then how about we have a little chat, eh? You got yourself turned around and aren't sure where to go, yeah? Well, I'll be happy to tell you anything I can. Just ask away. The painting sounded rather high-spirited. Perhaps he was simply excited to have the opportunity to speak with someone. So you decided to ask the painting a few questions. I'm just saving because I don't know if these questions are going to lead... Yeah, okay. Oh, man. What is this place? First and foremost, right? I don't really care about who the person in the painting is. I think I'm going to go, what is this place? Who is the maid? Who are you? Who am I? So 3, 4, 1, 2, if I can even get there. We'll start with what is this place? Talk about some hard-hitting questions. I'm probably not the one who'll be able to answer that for you. I don't have a very deep connection with this mansion, you see. I swear it. I got nothing to gain from lying, do I? It's my regrets that have turned me into this. I wasn't summoned here by no one. That said, there is one thing I can tell you. This place summons people. People who have ties to something that happened long, long ago. No one knows anything even happened. I didn't know either, till she told me. Though I haven't the foggiest how much of it's true or not. Are you here because you were summoned by her? Or did you come here of your own will to find someone? If you came here of your own volition and you weren't summoned by her, then mayhaps you'll be the one. Who can break? Okay. This kind of changes things. Because it doesn't sound like he knows who she is. It'd be weird if it was just Jacopo stuck in the house. Hey, can you open this fucking door? Yeah, over here. No, to the left, idiot. Yeah, the closet. Thank you. Who are you? Let's go you. Let's go you before the maid and myself now. Me? Well, as you can see, I'm a painting. Why did I end up as a painting? Hard to say. Maybe I was reborn as a painting because I used to really like art? Though there are things I painted that I wished I hadn't. Maybe that regret's what turned me into this. Hopefully I get the chance to apologize to him about that. Anywho, no point in getting into any more detail than that. The only painter we know is the white-haired girl's father in the first door. It's the only painter we know, right? Wouldn't mean anything to you, so enough about me. Oh, right, you don't know anything about yourself. A shame, that. Alright then. A favor for you, since you can't tell me about yourself. If you run into him, could you tell him I really regret what I did? I know I should tell him myself, but, well, as you can see, I'm stuck here. Can't move an inch, so I've got to ask for help. I feel absolutely terrible about painting that picture. Okay, I think it is him. I know, yeah, the deadline's way past on that one, but that's what makes it regret, yeah? Because you can't take it back? By the time I'd realized it was too late, he was already dead. He's long since passed away. Huh? How are you supposed to give a dead fellow a message? Well, for all you know, the dead could be wandering these halls too. So please, if you come across him, tell him I said that I didn't mean any harm with the painting. Or maybe you are him. Well, now I'm all mixed up. Who is the maid? Might as well ask her that directly. But she won't say till you've regained your own self? I see. Well, in that case, if you want to know, you know what you gotta do. It's entirely up to you whether you make an ally or an enemy out of her. There's no guaranteeing she's even right in the head. You never know. Maybe you're not the only one who hasn't found themselves. Last but not least, just because you don't know who you are doesn't mean you can go around asking other people. I'm not a person, you say? Well, no, you're right, but I'm not going to know anything about you that you can't tell me about yourself. I mean, from where I'm standing, you look almost like a walking cloud of shadow. I can't even tell you what you look like. The maid who was with you before, did she call you master? I see. But the question is, which era's master are you? How many doors have you been through? 3 doors, eh? And of those, did any of them bring anything back? Huh. Well, it's not an easy thing recovering yourself, or maybe you weren't behind any of those 3 doors. Yeah, that's gotta be it. That was your first time witnessing those tragedies. Yours is another door. So tell me, how'd you feel looking behind those doors? Was it frightening, saddening, heart-wrenching? Well, let me tell you something. You were able to bear them because they weren't your tragedies. If the next door you open is yours, will you be able to bear it? Will you be able to accept your own tragedy? It's one thing seeing others suffering, but your own. If you have to face emotions you want to keep buried, secrets you wanted to keep hidden away, and pain you wanted to forget, do you think you'll be able to accept them as your own? If you can't, I wouldn't blame you. I wouldn't accuse you of running if you chose not to reclaim your old self. Nothing wrong with erasing your memory of something if it was so bad you didn't want to face it in the first place. Let it be rewritten as someone else's story. It'll make it a whole lot easier on you. Sounds like bad advice. 'Cause you never know. The most unfortunate tale of all may well be your own. Or perhaps that goes for everything about you. You won't know till you see it. Well, that's true enough. But once you do, there might not be any turning back. Or, do you mean to reclaim your old self no matter the cost? If you do, if you're sincerely prepared to do that, then be wary of the tale that comes next. Any tragedy that seems too beautiful to be real is precisely that, a fabrication. If it turns out you're someone from behind the next door, then perhaps you're my... Haven't talked that much in a long time. Feels great. And now that I've got that out of my system, I should be able to get some good sleep. You're probably still wandering in the dark right now, but I really hope you find the outcome you want. And I mean that. You can either reclaim your old self, or you can toss it aside. The choice is yours, either way. Now, since it looks like your escort isn't showing up, what do you plan to do next? How about taking a look around the place, since you've got a little free time? Could be you come across some things you wouldn't with her around. Oh, right. If you're gonna go exploring, I've got the perfect thing. Stick your hand into the canvas, would you? The painting was still wrapped in an impenetrable darkness. A perfect, all-consuming void. The man had told you to put your hand into it. Where I think a choice is going to come up. Okay. Yeah, sure, why not, right? I should save first. I'll reach into the frame. Sure. You extended your hand for the painting. The moment your fingertips brushed against the darkness, it swallowed your entire hand up to the wrist. No, not the hair. That tickles. Hey, a little to the right. As the man in the painting had instructed, you groped around the inside of the darkness. Before long, you felt something hard at your fingertips. Come on. Clenching the object, you withdrew your hand. Your arm was still intact. You spread your fingers, and there you found a key. Okay, a key item? Our first item in the game? That tickled. Hey, with that key, you can access the master bedroom. A while back, she tossed it into me. That damned litter bug. So yeah, it ain't mine. Don't worry about giving it back. However, I bet there's something worth seeing in there, if she felt the need to toss the key. Alright, well, I'm gonna go get some sleep. You take care. If you happen to learn my name, come pay me another visit, should the fancy strike you. Having said that, the painting fell quiet. In your hand lay a small key. It seemed rather antiquated and vaguely familiar. Silence once again drew over the corridor. You stood there all alone, no sign of the maid. Whoa, what did I do? Oh, I accidentally... One sec. I was just pressing buttons on my left hand. Sorry. Oops. Fucking painting's talking and nobody cares? Yeah, we've been through it all. What's up, Gene? How are you? Welcome in. I'm GoatedQuest. I don't know if you were there with Nev's Raid or if you're just popping in from Tay's stream, but either way, good to see you. You can press L1 to skip the stuff you already read. Oh, R1. Yo, Franco, shout out. Happy to have you. We got a shout out for Nev earlier. I get a shout out for Gene as well. Gene's stream is great. If you guys like the structure of my stream, with very, very rigid rules and guidelines, and I have days that are set and marbles and all that stuff, Gene does a very similarly structured but wildly different type of structure in that every week on their stream they have a theme. So this week, I believe, is still today's Sunday. So next week's going to be something else, yeah? My favorite was survival. I was chilling in all of those. I don't even know what show it was. What show were you watching? The full survival show where the guy was like hunting and sleeping outside and doing all that stuff. Today was the last day of Thief Week? Okay, sick. I was not there for that. Oh, tomorrow will be the last day? I don't know. Either way. Very, very fun stream. Alone. That's it. Yeah. Very good. And, for you, I'm GoatedQuest. My channel's all about first playthroughs. Anything from my childhood to modern day or even before I was born that I haven't beaten is eligible for the list. Played a whole bunch of crazy stuff so far. I beat Metal Gear for the first time, Legend of Zelda for the first time, Chronicles of Riddick: Escape from Butcher Bay, Diablo 2 for the first time, Chrono Trigger for the first time. We are 37 games in this year alone, and currently playing through the House in Fata Morgana that you're watching right now, an incredibly critically acclaimed visual novel. The original Final Fantasy, and Clive Barker's Undying, which is a horror FPS. The spin of it is the spin. So I have the rigid structure. The randomness element is that it's all decided through marbles on stream. I don't know what's going to be played next. I don't know what type of game, what genre, what, era it will be. Whatever happens, happens. And any sub to the channel has the ability to add their own marble into the marbles on stream race. And if they win, they pick the game for me outright. So like Franco won the marble roll that led to the selection of this game. And so Franco got to outright pick the House in Fata Morgana. So it's got chaos randomness, but the actual, I need a very rigid theme in order to, stream effectively. That's just how my brain works. I need some form of very intense structure week over week. But yeah, thank you so much for being here. It's totally grounding. It really, really is. It really is. I'm going to get right back into this, but it's very good to see you. Chaos plus theme. Right. You need it. You need the balance. Silence once again drew over the corridor. You stood there all alone. No sign of the maid. After considering it for a few moments, you decided to explore the mansion on your own. Oh dear. What the hell? What do you mean? This is a game now? 15 hours of just advancing text and now we're playing a game? I'm finally triggered? Yeah, you and me both. Way too many choices. Holy shit. How many of these rooms can we explore? I think we go to the Rose Garden first, right? That's my pick. Yeah, we do have the key. We could go to the master bedroom with the key. I'm called to the Rose Garden just like because of sentimentality, I guess. That's just like who I am. We could go to the Beast's Den. Oh, we could go downstairs to the cellar if we wanted. We could go to the stained glass window, which was the weird, side mirror thing. Remember that? We could go eat some sand. That's true. Man, I don't know. I don't know. Does anybody have... Franco, do you have a recommendation? I'd recommend saving the master bedroom for last. Okay, that's a good place to start. Well, then, you know what? We'll go through in order. We will go to the Rose Garden first. I would like. Aw, there it is, guys. Look. Your head's covered in roses. Oh, you got petals on the book. This isn't mine. I can't afford to. Is this Mel? Though you could hear the sound of children laughing, you could not see them. Regardless, their cheerful voices warmed your heart. You decided to linger there in the garden for some time. Along with the children's laughs wafted a sweet fragrance. The wind blew, whisking flower petals up into the air. It was an enchanting sight. But after a while, the roses began to wilt. You could no longer hear the children's voices either. Holy shit! A young man stood alone in the withered rose garden. As you drew nearer, you called out to the youth. But the young man did not appear to notice you. He merely stood there, staring vacantly across the garden. The youth muttered something in a lifeless voice. This isn't what I wanted. I just wanted a normal, peaceful life. I can't bear being alone. I can't take this. Someone get me out of here. Oh, God. Tell me it's not all my fault. You tried to call out to the young man several times, but he did not seem to hear you. He simply continued muttering to himself. Yeah, I've been curious about that too, Snark. It's always been a capital Y, you, the entire time, since the opening line of the game, I think. But yeah, I guess it's just because our identity is a secret, so like the actual use of you is in place of a name, I guess. I don't know. Before long, the youth's shadow faded into nothing. Unable to hear the chilly air any longer, you stepped back into the mansion. Back into the mansion we go. All right, where's next? I mean, the fireplace is where we started. Who would be there? This is the opening of our game. You made your way to the room with the fireplace. What remained of the fire crackled weakly, leaving the room in a veil of darkness. You remembered that you had awoken here. Out of sheer curiosity, you sat down in the rocking chair you had been asleep in. That's extreme mode. Screw being an NB. I'm now complete non-identity. All right, let's go. My pronouns are none. Don't even perceive me. It was as soothing as a cradle to a baby, and in short order you found your consciousness drifting from your grasp. My consciousness drifted? Reading a story by the fireplace like this almost makes me feel like we're in another world, doesn't it, Master? I bet that's why troubadours perform at pubs, so they can be near the fire. Well, you're such a cynic, but that's okay. Say, do you remember when I first arrived here? When I was cleaning the library? Your eyes slowly slid open. Fragments of a pleasant dream lingered in the back of your mind. The crackling of a fire, the taste of warm wine. However, there was nothing pleasant about the fireplace sitting before you. No warm, crackling flames. In fact, the brisk air of the room overpowered the remnants of embers left there. A chill ran down your spine. Afraid you might freeze stiff if you stayed there much longer, you resumed your exploration of the mansion. Oh man, they just like, both literally and figuratively, we're opening too many doors right now. My brain does not process this many new threads at once. Let's check out the cellar. Let's see if the beast is there. When you descended into the cellar, you heard beast-like snarling. Along with it came a sour odor and the sound of ripping flesh. You could not see the beast, but that did not make it any less unpleasant. You made to retreat from the cellar. Beast mode! Beast mode! Beast mode! Everybody! But before you could, a shadowy creature lunged at you. You reflexively squeezed your eyes shut. After several moments, you opened your eyes to find a silhouette of a man standing in place of the beast. You and the shadow stared at one another for some time. You asked the shadow a question, and the shadow responded. That's a new sound. However, you had no idea what it said. The shadow seemed to be trying to communicate something to you, but trying to make sense of something you could not understand was pointless. Having no reason to remain in the cellar any longer, you made your way back upstairs. But that seems like the fun part, being able to see a bunch of threads that don't make sense at first, but then later all come together. I'm totally with you. It's just an in-the-moment, like, overwhelming feeling. Especially I've been so in this rhythm for literally 15 hours so far. And now it's like we're getting this bit of freedom, this bit of exploration, and it's like, it's totally overwhelming. But yeah, as Franco said, Franco has played through this. Having finished the game, this part is so awesome. I'm so pumped. Yeah. Where next? Anybody have something they want to see? So it's still just choosing the order you presented these paragraphs in. It is, but still, it's like, I don't know, something about it. Let's do library next, I suppose. Only time I can remember the library is Mel and the white-haired girl talking about being a witch. The smell of dusty books filled the air of the library. You approached a shelf to examine one of the books, and suddenly an avalanche of them came falling to the floor. You stared blankly at the mountain of books. They had fallen down on their own, but they showed no signs of putting themselves away. Since no one was there to do it, you began placing the books back on the shelf. 1, 2, 3, a dozen, and as soon as you had gotten them all back up, they came crashing back down again. You wished very much to implore of the maid's assistance, but she did not appear to be in the area. Pretending you had not seen anything, you made your way back into the hallway. Okay. That's like the... Franco, you ready for this one? Where is it? Where is it? I have no idea where I would even find this, aside from, like, our Discord server. Little bit of library pranks. I gotta find this. One sec. We gotta go here. I'm going to the old Discord server. Sort by old. There it is. Here we are. Save. This is what just happened to us. This is what just happened to us right here. Downloads. Man, this is like a 6-year-old picture. Who put the books on the kid? That's exactly what just happened. Anyway, to the den. One last time before it's gone forever. Ooh, little Jacopo action? The scent of cigarette smoke lingered in the den. However, the room was silent. Not even an echo of the men's chattering remained. Something was moving. Billiards balls. There was no one present to strike the balls. They rolled spontaneously around the table. The paths they traced across the surface were rough and erratic, contrasting that of when the former master had held the cue. The spheres collided awkwardly with one another, not a single one coming close to the pockets. As an experiment, you pulled a ball off the table. In response, the paths of the balls became even clumsier. Having lost one of their targets, they began bouncing aimlessly off the cushioned walls of the table. As you stared intently at the table, a man's voice rang out from somewhere in the room. Spinning around, you saw a silhouette of a man. However, you could not make out what the man was saying. The man thrust his finger at the table. He appeared to want you to return the ball. You reluctantly placed the billiards ball back on the table. When you did, the balls resumed endlessly colliding with one another, never landing in any of the pockets. He sure did, and that's why he was so chill there. You looked up to find the shadow gone. Having determined that the maid was not going to appear in the den, you exited the room, making your way back into the corridor. Okay, we got a few left, and we're doing the master bedroom last. So should we call for the maid before it... I'm assuming call for the maid is like the nuclear option. I don't even do that one. We just go to the master bedroom first. I'm going to go to the entrance. We got a little bit of time. You made your way to the mansion's entrance. There was no one around, nor any source of light. Groping through the darkness, you found the front door, which was sealed shut with a heavy bar. You pressed against the bar, but it remained firmly in place. The door did not budge either. It seemed you could not leave the mansion. Burn the witch. Crucify the impure. When you made to step away from the entrance, you heard a muffled voice. You looked around, but were unable to determine the source of the voice. Nor could you be sure whom you had heard either. Giving up on finding anything at the entrance, you decided to head somewhere else. Those are kind of fucked up words to just be whispered. Stained glass window, I guess. That was where we saw the, like, vision with, Michelle or whatever. You approached the stained glass window. An array of pews was arranged facing the stained glass. There seemed to be an air of tranquility about the room. Was it the white-haired girl that people told her she was a witch? Yeah, across the different storylines. You sat down in one of the pews and stared quietly forward for some time. Could be people outside the manor. True. For a moment, you felt like you were on the verge of recalling something, but ultimately the memory never managed to surface. The maid did not appear to be here. Where could she have gone? You decided to resume exploring the mansion. All right. Should we call for her, or should we just go to the master bedroom? We have the key. Let's just go to the bedroom. Let me do a hard save, actually. Choices scare me. You are able to reload. Yeah, and I think it's encouraged. Any major choices in the configuration have auto-saving at choices. Isn't calling the maid progressing to go to the bedroom? I don't know. If you are, it'd be interesting to see what happens. I don't know if the master bedroom is the progression because it's where the key is. I don't know. Here we go. We'll see. It could be interesting to see what happens when you call, but we'll find out. You inserted the key you had been given into the door's keyhole, and with a twist, the door opened. The master bedroom was shrouded in darkness, much like every other room in the mansion. It had evidently been left unused for some time. The air in the room was stale and forlorn. Master? A voice seemed to ring out from somewhere. Come on, get up. Up with you. Master! See? What did I tell you? It's so much nicer in here with a little light. Without warning, your whole world took on bright, vivid colors. Light streamed through the window, illuminating a well-lived bedroom. A woman's silhouette stood before you. Wait a sec. Don't you hide under your bedspread. Get out of there. Oh, but Master, you agreed that I could open the windows. Don't worry, I've put the curtains up. If it gets too bright, you can draw them. Mornings take the best parts of being outside and squeeze them all into the same few hours. You don't have to go outside in the sunlight for it either. Just listen to all the wonderful sounds. The joyous songs of the birds, the swaying of the trees, the rustling of the leaves. You tried to call out to the silhouette, but it did not respond. Reaching out for her, your hand simply passed through her body. It did not seem to be you that she was speaking to. Perhaps you were looking at a scene from some other point in time. Am I being as pushy as I feel right now? I completely misjudged you. You're the exact opposite of what I thought you were. Let's see. I thought you were cold and cruel, heartless and incomprehensible, but I'm beginning to get a better idea. You try to put on airs, but you're really rather childish. You have a short temper, but can be surprisingly playful. What else? You have a pretty difficult personality, too. Now, hear me out here. That's not everything. You gave me a chance to talk, and you listened intently. You can be kind of nice, too. We agreed that we would live together, not just in the same house, so we've got plenty of time to add more to the list. Yo, that's like me talking about this stream. And I hope you can make your own list about me, too. Got plenty of time to add more to the list. when people recommend like their favorite indie game from 2019. This is just the beginning after all. We've got a long, long time ahead of us. Plenty enough to get to know each other, no? Let's not waste any time then. What do you say we do something today that we haven't been able to do before? Where should we begin? Oh, I know. We can get this place cleaned up. Now that there's some actual light in here, we can see all sorts of things we'd probably rather not. Like dust, all over the place. Listening to this whilst doing my chores goes way hard. Nice. That's a perfect like second monitor or mobile use case for this stream. Just do some chores. You see, you just heard her talk about the dust. This is my call for all of you to put some headphones on. Just treat this as like an audio book and do some damn chores. You probably have some dishes to do. When the woman's shadow faded away, the master bedroom transformed back into its old, dreary state. Master, can you say my name? You were unsure how to describe the urge welling up within your breast. You could not say her name. You stood unmoving in the master bedroom for some time, but it did not appear anything else was going to happen, so you decided to head somewhere else. Okay, so the maid is... Oh, back to the stained glass window? What? Yeah? Sounds like she's describing a brat. We all have our type. You returned to the room with the stained glass window. You had searched throughout the mansion, but had no luck finding the maid. You felt somewhat tired, though you were not quite sure whether it was physical exhaustion or otherwise. You had little interest in doing any more moving about. Taking a seat in one of the pews, you gazed up at the stained glass, staring solemnly down back at you as the archangel said to weigh the souls of the deceased. Perhaps he was trying to weigh your soul. Is the house in Fata Morgana purgatory? Call for the maid. Master? Oh, there you are, Master. You gave me quite the scare. After returning from the third door, you disappeared without a word. Oh my, it was I who disappeared? That is quite strange. I did not go anywhere as far as I'm aware. Nevertheless, I'm glad to have found you. I would have been completely at a loss for what to do if I had been separated from you yet again. I did indeed say that when you first arrived. I've been waiting for your return for a very long time. For centuries, as a matter of fact. That would make me a ghost, then, you say? I am very much not a ghost. Would I be able to hold your hand if I were? Saying this, the maid took your hand. It was cold enough to send a shudder down your spine, and completely devoid of life. Though as chilling as it may have been, you still took comfort in the feeling of her hand in yours. The maid looked down at you with gentle eyes. After a few moments of silence, she sat down beside you. The stained glass is quite beautiful, is it not? Every time I see it, it brings a tranquility to my heart. A dreadful, deep-rooted curse afflicts this mansion. However, this room is the one exception. Can you feel the purity that hangs in the air, Master? Yes. What is it, Master? You are correct. The stained glass window had been shattered and was not present in the time period of the previous tale. I wonder, perhaps it is because the mansion we are in presently resides in a realm separate from the real world. We are in a world constructed from myriad memories and histories. I'm sure that when you regain your old self, Master, the mansion too shall be restored to its original state. So do try and remember, all right? Oh, yes. Where did you go in my absence, Master? Oh, everywhere. I see. So you explored the mansion, then? And did you find anything noteworthy? Memories? I'm not quite sure what you mean. How peculiar. As a servant of this house, I pride myself in being aware of most everything present within these walls. I wonder whose memories they could be. The key to the master bedroom. Why did I throw away the key? I beg your pardon? You say a painting told you. You could see the perplexity on the maid's face. You had never seen her make such an expression before. I know nothing of a key. Oh, master, you should not tell jokes meant to cause others discomfort. But a talking painting, you say? You seem to have a rather vivid imagination. Maybe you can tell the next tale, master. I'm only teasing. Now, that was a nice break, but we should get moving. The tale I'm about to show you is the last of the mansion's memories. I am certain you will remember yourself after seeing it. To our feet, the final door is not far, and please, do not let go of my hand. Holding your hand, the maid led you to the far end of the room. Crossing beneath the stained glass window, a metal door came into view. Our destination lies at the top of these stairs. There we will find one last door. She pushed open the metal door, revealing a long, long spiral staircase. Whoa, beautiful shot. Love this one. Oh, wow, this is really nice art. Cool. It will be a bit of a walk, so let us be on our way. And please do watch your step. This is called an observation tower. Normally, towers such as this were built in castles or churches, so it is rather strange for there to be one in a mansion. The last door I wish to show you, master, resides at the top of this tower. Rectangular windows were carved out of stone in several locations along the way up the spiral staircase. You attempted to peer out one of the windows, but all you could see was a thick layer of fog. Perhaps the maid's suggestion that the mansion did not presently reside in reality was, in fact, correct. With each step upward, you found yourself gripped by an indescribable sense of anxiety. The feeling somewhat resembled irritation or annoyance. Sensing this, the maid tightly gripped your hand. There's nothing to worry about. You will be fine. It is all in the past. No matter what may happen, so long as you do not let go of my hand, you have nothing to fear. You and the maid continued climbing the stairs, up and up, around and around, marching ever nearer to the supposed final door. High up into the tower, as the light from below drew distant, a rotten wood door came into view. Patches of what appeared to be blood stained the surface, and holes had been bored into it with sharp objects of some sort. You heard a scream from far below where no one should have been. "Kill the witch! Kill the witch! Kill the witch! Burn her! Burn her! Burn her!" You were struck with fear. The next moment, the maid opened the door, and then you slowly descended into darkness. The fourth door. 1099? 1099? Whoa. Okay. I'm gonna save it here. Does this game have choices? It has slots for 8 endings. So I'm assuming there are choices that branch off at certain points, but my understanding is that there is one end, and the rest of them are kind of like branches to dead end kind of endings. You know what I mean? Like 7 bad endings and 1 ending. You pick your favorite color at the end. I haven't played Mass Effect 3. I'm assuming maybe it is legitimate. Yeah, this has been a ton of fun. I'm going to go get another cup of tea, and I will be right back, because we're going into door 4. Pick purple to match the maid. One More Hero, you've always been a purple guy. What kind of tea? I have just like Slippery Elm throat coat tea for these streams because as the characters call for it, I go voice mode. You've been into green? Nice. And sometimes it can really thrash the hell out of my throat. So I have like 2 cups of tea each stream. All right, I will be right back. We've got another hour and 15 minutes or so. You got a pumpkin chai? Nice. This is the tea that I have, by the way. I know I saw you say licorice root. This is primarily original licorice root, 760 milligrams, slippery elm bark, 80, and then marshmallow root, too. Minky Moo hates this tea, thinks it tastes horrible. I, on the other hand, really enjoy it. I guess it must be a licorice thing. The slippery elm tree has played an important role in Native American herbal medicine for hundreds of years. Inspired by its traditional use, we source our slippery elm domestically, where families collect the bark sustainably by hand to protect the trees for future generations. Shout out! And I also got like a lemon echinacea tea as well at the place today. You buy the Sleepy Time tea of that band? Yeah. Licorice is an acquired taste? Probably is. Like, I love black licorice, and so many people I meet think it's disgusting. Yeah. The Sleepy Time tea knocks you out? Is that real? Man, maybe I should start drinking it. Not that I need to, like, I just need to fall asleep earlier. You know? It's less about, once I'm asleep, I sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep and sleep. It's just a matter of, like, getting to sleep earlier. All right, let's get back into it. Black licorice is good. Nice. Licorice all sorts. My great uncle adored licorice all sorts. He was like, when we knew him as kids, he was like 80. Uncle Joe. And my sister and myself were both like very like empathetic people, I guess. Like, for example, I remember a very specific moment at Cedar Point amusement park in Ohio. My sister saw an old man get pooped on by a bird on his shoulder, and she like had a breakdown of sadness because his family was laughing at him and he just got pooped on by a bird. And she got all, and like that's the kind of stuff like I used to like get emotional and sad when people would get made fun of on America's Got Talent. Like when somebody would like get up on America's Got Talent and like everybody X's them and the audience is laughing, I would get so stressed out. I can't watch that kind of stuff. That happened to me playing basketball as a kid. You cry so hard at those ASPCA commercials. Well, there's this story, there's a core to it. My Uncle Joe was like 80 when we knew him as a kid. So he passed away a few years back. Very, very old. He was Irish, thick Irish accent, was a sailor for many years, and then was a beekeeper as his profession from like 40 years on until, I don't know, until he was probably like in his mid 70s. Beekeeper. Made his own honey, sold it at farmers markets and things across Ontario. He was in Canada, right outside of Toronto. At one point at a grocery store, I remember this vividly. I had to have been like 11 years old. And he said, "Oh, licorice all sorts. Once you have one, you just can't stop." And my mom's just like a jokester, prankster, talks shit, whatever. She said, "Can't stop what? Puking?" And my sister got so mad at my mom for days about him being made fun of about loving licorice all sorts because my mom said, "Once you have one, you can't stop what? Puking?" And it was a whole thing. That's my licorice story. I don't know. It's stuck in my brain forever. Like, I could text my sister licorice all sorts right now, and she would send, like, probably stop in all caps. In fact, I'll test it out right now. Licorice all sorts. Once you have one, you can't stop. And we'll see. She has notifications off. Now I'm being the bully. This was like 15 years ago, okay? She's had more than enough time to process that trauma. Speaking of processing trauma, let's get back to the house in Fata Morgana. We are here at door 4. 1099 is the year. We're way back. Thank you for the advisory. We're going to get back into things here. I got my tea ready. This water is so fucking hot. I'm drinking from the Walmart pre-order exclusive. This was only here at Walmart of all places when you pre-ordered this game. The second funniest pre-order bonus of all time. The first funniest is the Final Fantasy Origins Stranger of Paradise trucker baseball hat that they gave at GameStop for pre-ordering Stranger of Paradise. The second funniest is this inexplicable Metroid Dread coffee mug, which is just key art of the game wrapped across a white coffee mug. That I pre-ordered Metroid Dread from Walmart, and this shipped to my house. It means nothing. I don't know why this was given as the pre-order bonus, but I cherish it with my life. 2021 Nintendo, and I think yesterday was the 1-year anniversary. Yeah, October 8th. The 1-year anniversary of Metroid Dread. Can you believe it? Time really flies. AKA not a dishwasher mug. Doesn't stop me. Top rack. This is a top rack Tommy. But yeah, you're probably right. In time, I probably should stop doing it because it's gonna like chip and fade and be horrible, but hasn't stopped me. Set on a pot, set it on, and also pour water into it. Gather the pieces thereof into it, even every good piece, the thigh and the shoulder. Fill it with the choice bones. Take the choice of the flock, and burn also the bones under it, and make it boil well, and let them seethe the bones of it therein. Thus saith the Lord, woe to the bloody city, to the pot whose scum is therein, and whose scum is not gone out of it. Bring it out, piece by piece, let no lot fall upon it. Man, what? Huh? Where is she? Where'd she go? She came down this way, I'm sure of it. Find her! Find her! And burn her! Burn the witch! 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 Burn her! Burn her! Burn her! Then I will leave thee upon the land. I will cast thee forth upon the open field, and will cause all the fowls of the heaven to remain upon thee. And I will fill the beasts of the whole earth with thee. And I will lay thy flesh upon the mountains, and fill the valleys with thy height. I will also water with thy blood the land wherein thou swimmest, even to the mountains, and the rivers shall be full of thee. And when I shall put thee out, I will cover the heaven, and make the stars thereof dark. I will cover the sun with a cloud, and the moon shall not give her light. All the bright lights of heaven will I make dark over thee, and set darkness upon thy land. What the hell? I seem to have lost them. Now where am I? Where should I go from here? What am I to do? Darkness spreads as far as the eye can see. Not a ray of light shines down upon me. All that strokes my cheek are tendrils of darkness. Every passing day, every fading hour, my world's engulfed in ebony. There exists no kindness in this shadow, only solitude. I've lost track of how long I've been on the run, wandering aimlessly lost until I arrived at this dark forest. I no longer have anywhere to go. O Father who art in heaven, I kneel to thee within my heart and ask of thee thy blessing. O Father who art in heaven, I ask of thee to shine thy light upon me and show me the way. Please have mercy upon my soul. O Father, who art in heaven, I do love thee dearly, hallowed be thy name. Please show me the way. I may be shunned and persecuted, and I may have no place to go, but nevertheless I am unable to give up on life, to cast aside my hope. O Father, who art in heaven, please guide me unto salvation. O Father, who art in heaven, please guide me. I can no longer remember when my life became naught but running, when it became endless wandering in the dark. And now, when I've reached the point where I've long since forgotten my hunger and thirst, my voice has become hoarse, my vision gone blurry, and my consciousness begun sinking into a hazy morass, that mansion appears before me, wrapped in a morning fog that seems to foretell rain. Cool. Gotta take the tea bag out of this. We have been simply steeping long enough. There it is, the mansion. Oh my. The mansion comes into view like the world fading in after a dream. It doesn't appear as though anyone lives here. All the windows are either boarded up or shuttered, as if it's long since been abandoned. A tower, which seems out of place in a personal residence, stands tall beside the mansion. The whole building seems as though it could disappear with the fog. It has an unwelcoming presence, freezing me in my tracks. However, honestly, another really, really, really incredibly good shot. That moon is so well illustrated. It looks so good. If this is where you have led me, then I shall follow your guidance. Oh, you know what it is? You know what it is? Tay recommended me the new capture card that I'm using, the one that allows me to switch sources and not blue screen my computer. And it allows me to watch the screen in 4K, and then it natively downscales to 1080p for you guys, so that my computer can handle the 4K signal downscaled to 1080p. That's why it looks so good on my end, is because I'm actually, for the first time since like last week, looking at the 4K visuals. Having nowhere else to go, this mansion is my only salvation, the light that guides my way. And so I must have faith that no matter what I find, whether spirits or wild beasts dwell within these walls, that this is where I will find peace. Is anyone there? I guess it is abandoned. That makes sense. It would be more unusual for someone to be living in a house so deep in the woods, so far from civilization, like it's been forgotten to time. Can't imagine anyone spending their days here. I place my hand on the front door. What if I can't get in? I very much doubt I'll find anywhere else to stay wandering around through the woods. If the door doesn't open, then I'll die out here in the forest. Update. My sister responded. I'll show you. See if I can show you without spoiling, or without, one sec. I don't want anybody to see her name. Let's see if I can show this. Ready? I'm gonna go here really fast. Boom. And then, can we get that? Can we catch that? Can you see it? Can you see it? Boop, boop. Oh, wait, wait, wait. There it is. There it is. I just sent her. Licorice all sorts. Once you have one, you can't stop. I was right. I was right. Score 1 for me. I've come to accept much, but I'm not ready to forfeit my life yet. Please, open. The door is heavy, and though it seems to protest my attempts to enter, it still opens much easier than I was expecting. I was worried over nothing. Looking in, I get the strangest impression, light is being swallowed up into the mansion's depths. Rather than going inside, it feels as though I'm about to step outside the boundaries of this world. When I close the door, it's so dark, I can't even tell where I'm walking. I wonder if the window's open. Though I managed to fumble my way over to a window. It's gonna be real confusing for her. That's the only thing. Nah, she understands. I am a like one message texter and then I stop responding. So like even worse, she's gonna get the read receipt and she's gonna go like, oh, okay, yeah, that was it. Though I managed to fumble my way over to a window, it's tightly shuttered and the shutters are caked with rust. I'm probably not getting it open without a fight. If only I had some source of light. I can't even see my hand waving in front of my face. It feels like the floor will fall out from under me and I'll sink into eternal darkness if I don't watch my step. Eternal darkness, on the list. Fighting back that fear, I slowly walk forward, tracing the wall with my hand. There's a door at the end of a long corridor. I pull it open, and a wisp of bone-chilling air brushes past me. It's too dark to see anything, but I can feel something different present in this area of the house than the rest of the house. Uneasiness grips me. Is anybody there? My voice simply disappears into the void. No response. As I'm pushing forward through the freezing air, for a split second, I spot a shimmer of light. Squinting my eyes, I'm able to make out a large window. Unlike the others, it's not shuttered, but covered by drapes. My chances are slim, I imagine, but if there's even a slight possibility of getting some light in here, it's worth a shot. So I pull open the drapes. Yeah, nice. The next moment, faint but colorful light shines down on me. It's a stained glass window. From beyond the glass, I can hear the subtle pitter-patter of rain. I guess it finally started. The different colors of light blend into a milky white, dim but wondrous. It's gorgeous. Why would someone cover this up? It's beautiful. With a little more light, it'd be... Please do not touch the drapes. Or the windows. Suddenly I hear a voice, and I can sense someone else in the room. The man's voice is emotionless, neither deep nor high. Before long, he comes into view, illuminated by dull orange candlelight. Oh! I'm sorry for coming in uninvited, but, I did announce myself. The man stands there, practically blending in with the darkness. Has he been there the whole time? He's staring straight at me. His gaze wavers slightly, but not enough for me to read anything in it. The candle in his hand and the light from the stained glass window are the only illumination in the room, neither of which are particularly bright. Is this the character you've been? No, but we have seen this character once before. In a time between the second door and the third door, we passed by a mirror, and from the mirror we were pulled into this scene, except the character that is the white-haired girl was named Giselle. I don't know, I don't have all the pieces together myself. The name Morgana was mentioned, and the name Michelle was mentioned. I guess we'll find out. As a result, his outline is faint and blurred. It gives off the impression that he might vanish entirely between blinks. My apologies, I assumed the house was abandoned. I suspect you would have preferred it to be abandoned. Not at all. Is this, do you live in this mansion? Yes, I have for a very long time. I thought I had barred the front door, but it would seem I left it open. What brings you here? If you're lost, I'm happy to give you directions. There's a village west of here. It should take you maybe half a day on foot. If you're in need of money, help yourself to some of the furniture. Trade it for food at the village, then make your way to a larger town. Please allow me to stay here. Could you repeat that? I cannot go to the village. No, I cannot go anywhere. I'm no longer able to freely return to any town. I'm being hunted. Yeah, feel free to take some of the furniture on this half-a-day walk back to town. You seem rather young to be a sinner. So you have transgressed. I'm neither a thief nor an adulterer. If I bear any sin, then it has been with me since birth. I'll do everything I can to stay out of your way. I simply ask that you grant me shelter until it all blows over. If you wish to know of my transgressions, I will tell you. So please, do not throw me out. I see. And do you ask this of me aware of how people refer to this mansion? Pardon? It is said that a witch once lived in this house. And not just any witch. A cursed witch. What's up, Draconics? How are you? This house has been tainted by her seething hatred, and all those who dwell within it meet their demise. But you live here, don't you? Like her, I too am cursed. Huh? What kind of curse? The one thing I can tell you is that your life is in danger if you get involved with me. Should you approach my curse, I am likely to take your life. You'll kill me? Yes. So you do not belong here. To live with me in this mansion is to sentence yourself to death. No matter what path I choose, I very much doubt I have a future. And if that's the case, then I shall live how I want. I don't care what people say about you, or this mansion. I wish to stay here. You might think I'm rather strange, but my heart tells me that I must stay here. That I was guided here. And hearing what you have to say only reinforces that. What are you scheming? I'm not scheming anything. I'm simply tired of running. So if your curse is going to kill me, then perhaps that's for the best. At the very least, you won't be hunting me. You won't try to flay me, or tear off my arms, or rip the flesh from my bones. That's enough for me. If you have committed no sin, then why do they hunt you so fervently? I'm accused of being a witch. I just tried and beat the FF1 randomizer today. It took me about 4 hours. That's awesome, Draconics. Congrats. An FF1 randomizer sounds fun. It really does. Master, please, wake up. Return to me. Ah, have you come too, Master? I apologize sending you through a door without warning. It must have given you quite the scare. But I beg your forgiveness. I heard a terrible screaming from down the stairs and I panicked. You say you saw the white-haired girl. I see. So you made it into the door before me. I am deeply relieved that I was able to take your hand before losing sight of you. I presume you have already grown familiar with the atmosphere of the time period, Master. If you have seen her as you said, then you should have a basic grasp of the situation. She was a very misfortunate girl in this era, accused of being a witch, abused, and persecuted. Her life was in constant danger. It was, again, her appearance that brought this upon her. That snow-white hair and those ruby-red eyes clearly differentiated her from everyone else. Whoa, this song's going wild. Oh, and I apologize. I neglected to mention that this door is unique. As for what sets it apart, that will be made clear as we proceed, though one difference is in the time period. The tales I have shown you began with that of the beautiful flaxen-haired family, followed by the tale of the bloodthirsty beast, and then the tale of steel and ambition, proceeding in chronological order. However, the door we have just entered takes us to the period now known as the Middle Ages, long before the other three tales. Yes, that is correct. This is where it all began. The mansion's curse, the truth of the witch, and your identity. All of this should be made known. If after this tale you are still unable to reclaim your old self, then there is nothing more I can do. This door contains the last tale I am able to tell. So I ask of you, please, do not let go of my hand until it is all over. Now then, let us begin a beautiful, tragic love story of two solitary souls trapped in a mansion of darkness. In that era, the mansion was a dungeon draped in darkness. We should keep going. It's 10:23. We got a good 40 minutes. I was going to say, that's like, if we just angled it a little differently, if I structured it a little differently, that is like the perfect stopping point. But after a great deal of time on the run, the white-haired girl found herself at a remote mansion that stood in a dark, overgrown forest. All the windows were either boarded or shuttered, and it was even darker inside the house than out. Not even a ray of moonlight could enter those walls. Only naturally, the white-haired girl had assumed that nobody lived there, but her guess was incorrect. Someone did indeed dwell in the house. It was a young man named Michel. We're going Michel, right? Though she could not make out the details of his face in the candlelight, she thought him a very handsome man. However, he proclaimed to her that a witch resided within the mansion, and that he too was cursed. Everyone who got close to him lost their lives. Do you think that what he told her was all nonsense? A lie devised to chase her out of the house? The truth of the matter shall come to light in time. Despite Michelle's assertions, the white-haired girl decided she would take up residence within the mansion. This era's white-haired girl was younger than the others. She was still in her early teens, young enough to be seen as still a child. But she was neither as self-centered nor irresponsible as you might expect of someone her age. She was very delicate and reserved, and acted with a great deal of modesty and restraint. The accusations of her being a criminal and a sinner were grossly inappropriate. Nevertheless, she was still chased from her home, barely managing to flee to this mansion with her life. Now the white-haired girl thought it would be rude to simply take up space in the mansion, so she chased down the master, Michel, and asked, is there anything I can do to help? I will clean or cook or do anything, just let me know. I want to repay you for allowing me to stay here. You need not feel indebted to me. The weight of that obligation will only turn into disdain. But I can't just stay here and do nothing. Do whatever you like. As long as you do not enter my room. That is all I ask of you. He said emotionlessly, turning away and walking off. Michel was not, I believe, spurning her. He was merely disinterested. He did not treat her disrespectfully, nor did he seem averse to her presence. Words simply did not seem to affect him at all. Not only was the mansion a prison for his body was also a prison ensnaring his heart. I should still do whatever I can. But she did not let that get her down. In fact, she might have even interpreted his disinterest as kindness. Though he was a bit standoffish, he did not attempt to cause her harm. He was nothing like the people who had accused her of being a witch and forced her to flee for her life, and she was deeply grateful for that. Thus began their quiet life together. Michelle, who avoided contact with others, and the white-haired girl, who had taken a great deal of abuse from others. Two people who hardly knew anything about one another, who were too distant to really be said to be living together. Michelle spent most of his day in his chambers, so they only ever saw each other occasionally, and they hardly ever spoke. Though they stayed in the same house, they both still lived solitary lives. Nonetheless, the white-haired girl wanted to get to know Michelle better. She wanted to know why he called himself cursed, why he lived alone in this dark mansion, how many days, how many years he had spent here in solitude. And while she waited for the opportunity, she also started doing things around the house. The first project she set out to take care of was cleaning. As the windows were all firmly shut, her only source of light was candles. For whatever reason, there was a great deal of candles stored in the cellar. She wondered where on earth he had acquired so many, but she never found the opportunity to ask. It was difficult to even see all the dust and cobwebs with only candlelight, and considering the poor airflow through the house, she was afraid her efforts were going to be in vain. Still, she persisted, sweeping and wiping things down one room at a time. Eventually, she made her way to the library. The dust that had settled there was much heavier than in any other room. With each breath, she had to fight back coughs. It was not a room one would normally be comfortable spending much time in, but the sight of so many bulky volumes lining the shelves sent her heart aflutter with delight. They're books. Incredible, real books. The white-haired girl had never seen a book before. She had heard people describe them, but that was the first time she had ever seen one for herself. Parchment was a very valuable commodity in that era. It was something monks or scholarly priests made use of, and not a material one could easily acquire without some degree of social rank. Books were not printed with machines, but copied by hand. A single volume took an incredible amount of work to create. Even the process of binding was an art. Please don't be trapped. Do not mind my trick books. Please, don't be trapped under them. Standing before a shelf, she stared intently at the spines. There's so much dust. Does he not read any of them? Just a peek. Just a tiny little peek, she said, making excuses to the empty room as she reached her hand toward one of the books. The tome that caught her eye was on the upper shelf. It bore gorgeous jade embossing and looked like it belonged in a treasure chest. Almost. Though she tended to act older than her age, the white-haired girl was still in her early teens and not especially tall. Even standing tiptoe, it was just barely within reach. At long last, her slender fingers made contact with the spine, and she began to pull the book toward her. Ah! The library had sat abandoned for some time, causing the covers to stick together, so when she attempted to pull one out, several others tilted with it, and then almost all the books on the shelf came avalanching down onto her. Ow! The white-haired girl groaned, buried under a mountain of parchment. She hoped she had not damaged any of her host's valuable collection, for the mess was enough of a setback already in her attempt to express her gratitude. Looking around, she saw one volume that was almost torn in half. She did not know whether it was in that condition before, or if it had happened in the fall, but nonetheless, she felt horribly guilty. Sitting there, unable to get back on her feet, tears began welling in her eyes. Then suddenly a shadow fell over the dejected girl. It took a book in its hand and returned it to the shelf. For a brief moment, the shadow's hand reached hesitantly toward the white-haired girl, then changed course toward another book. It was Michelle. There was a hint of perplexity. I went down the wrong way. Oh, I had to swallow too fast to start reading. 1 second, I need another sip. Oh. There was a hint of perplexity in his otherwise emotionless eyes. Perhaps he had heard the noise and come to see what had caused it. I am so sorry, your books, What were you doing? I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to make a mess. I didn't mean to damage such precious books. There's no need to panic. I'm sorry. You make it sound as though I'm admonishing you. What? Did you want to read a book? I do, but that's not what I originally came here to clean. Clean? Yes, I felt guilty simply being idle. I did say you could do as you please, but you have no responsibility to clean anything. I just ended up making a bigger mess anyway. You needn't apologize. Okay. If you want to read, help yourself to any of the books. But I don't know how to read. I just thought the cover was pretty, so I wanted to hold it. He is. He's a hunk. Natural hunk. You're free to use them however you wish. If looking at them is enough for you, by all means. These are all your books, aren't they? They are. That's incredible. You have so many. It must have taken you a long time to acquire them all. 1 per month. What? My family sends me 1 every month. Every month? The white-haired girl turned her gaze back toward the shelves, squinting her eyes and beginning to count. When she finished, she was in awe. There were in excess of 100 books on the shelves, which meant he had lived there, in solitude, for many years. She was at a loss for words. They're dull tomes, dreadfully inoffensive, and not even interesting enough to waste a few hours with. Decoration is all they're good for. I see. If you can put them to some use, then perhaps my having them won't be entirely meaningless anymore. I am going to return to my room. Don't feel obligated to clean up. Just a minute. Was there something else? Could you tell me your name? I just realized I never asked for your name. Not knowing what to call you will make conversation awkward. I want to, though. Michelle. Michelle. Like the archangel. So it's Michael. It's just without the A. The name suits you quite well. It suits me? It does. Although it's difficult to see you in the dark, you seem to be a very handsome man, befitting of your name. I want to play with that hair so bad. I beg to differ. Giving me his name is the highest form of mockery. I expect the real archangel is probably rather annoyed by it. I don't know. I think it's a wonderful name. And your? No, never mind. Oh, my name. My name is Giselle. Please, call me Giselle. Oh, thank goodness. For what? That I was able to get your name and talk to you for a little bit. We haven't seen much of each other since I first arrived, so I'm glad I got to hear your voice. So very glad. You gain nothing by speaking to me. You have no responsibility to do so, and there is no need for you to feel joy about it. I'm not pleased out of some responsibility or necessity. It's just depressing not being able to have conversation with someone living in the same house. You do not understand me at all. As I said on that first day, my curse will one day kill you. But I'm still alive, aren't I? You are welcome to believe I am lying, or that I am merely out of my mind. But it will be too late when you realize the truth. I'll be fine, I'm sure. And even if I do die because of your curse, I promise I won't hold a grudge. Could you possibly be keeping away from me out of concern? No, I simply have no interest in interacting with anyone. I would like to interact with you, if you don't mind, that is. As I told you, you have nothing to gain from that. I have nothing, not even words, to give you. My body is but a shell. Even if I were not cursed, my presence would do naught but cause you discomfort. I don't think that's true. I don't believe that there's anyone in this world with absolutely nothing. There's plenty inside you. You simply haven't noticed it yet. And not all of it will only cause others pain either. If you truly believe those words, then you are a foolhardy girl. How can you trust someone you only just met? For that matter, how do you not resent everyone? Resent them? I can take a guess as to why people call you a witch, and why you had to flee all the way to this mansion. Your white hair and red eyes, that abnormal, seemingly inhuman appearance, drew their condemnation. And I can think of any number of reasons they might have started treating you less than human. Perhaps people around you experienced misfortune, or perhaps there was a natural disaster, a famine, a plague, some kind of external phenomenon, and you were their scapegoat. Yes, you are by and large correct. Then that would make me as unworthy of your trust as anyone else. I make no claim to having your interests in mind. Goodbye. If you don't mind, could you teach me how to read sometime? Did you listen to anything I said? I listened, yes. I have no intention of idolizing you. I don't expect you to do anything for me, and I don't wish to burden you in any way. I simply wish to be allowed to be at your side. It does not matter to me what kind of person you may be. That is all I want. I apologize for keeping you. Please consider it, if it's not too much trouble. As the master of the house, I have to commit. Michel? Let's just do Michel. Whatever. Made his way out of the library. He appeared to be slightly rattled. Perhaps the white-haired girl's determination had ignited something in his chained heart. Michael like the angel, that's the other way of doing it. Like the archangel. Or perhaps it was something else. She's the Witcher, but for fixing up messed up boys. Giselle of Rivia. She stared toward the darkness into which Michael had disappeared. I'm just going to alternate every time. Who cares? Then she carefully wrapped her arms around the jade-embossed tome, a soft smile spreading across her lips. He's a decent man. I'm sure of it. We're alike, he and I. And thus began to blossom within her a faint sense of fellowship, as someone who also knew solitude. It had been about a week since the white-haired girl had taken up residence in the mansion. Staying inside that house deprived of light was, I imagine, a very claustrophobic experience. To anyone blessed enough to have sunlight as a part of their everyday lives, it would have been unbearable. But for her, the mansion, with its prison walls and lack of either illumination or recreation, was the one place she could find respite. She and Michael continued to be distant, however. He spent most of his time in the chambers, which he had explicitly told the white-haired girl to stay out of, leaving her unable to close that gap. Nonetheless, on the occasions they did cross paths in the hallway, their eyes would meet, if but briefly. It was never for more than a few seconds. Whenever she saw him, she made a point of giving him a little smile. He never said anything, but still, when she had first arrived, he would not have even met her gaze. He seemed to be taking more and more notice of her. One day, the white-haired girl stood in the cellar, a frown on her face. And why do they continue to say the white-haired girl when she said her name? I'm wondering about that. I'm wondering if it's the maid's framing of it all. Because the maid is the one recounting this tale to the player character. I wonder if it's for framing purposes. Like, I don't know if there's any sort of... I don't know. But I had that question too. She's got a name now, but she's not being referred to by her name in this right here. But it's funny because when we looked in the mirror, right, in that scene last episode, we did see it. It did change to Giselle on the thing. So I do think it's a framing thing from the maid. Well, this is troubling. I can't go down to the village, but if we don't do something soon... The cellar was where their food was stored, an assortment of non-perishables and dried foods, smoked meats and cheeses. Her daily meals were taken from the supplies there. However, the stockpile was beginning to grow quite small. Were she not on the run, she could have gone to the village to procure more. Or perhaps, were she a little tougher, she could have captured a wild animal for its meat. But master, you know a young, delicate thing like her was hardly up to the task of hunting for food. How does he normally get his supplies, I wonder? From there, other questions about Michael started raising in her mind. No matter how lifeless he seemed, surely he had to eat, right? The white-haired girl nodded, then made her way out of the cellar, intending to head for his bedchamber. But on her way there, she'd spotted him standing by the entrance, staring motionless at the door lit by a single candle. He appeared to be waiting for something. Another sand eater? May I ask you a question? Go on. I was just down in the cellar and I noticed we were running low on food. Do you normally go down to the village to restock? I haven't been outside in 10 years. Then how do you... What if I told you I don't eat? What? That I'm not of this world, and as such, I have no need of sustenance. What would you think of that? That sounds very, economical? If you can survive without having to eat, that's one less thing to worry about. If it were possible, I'd like to have that ability too. It would seem trying to frighten you is a waste of time. Was I supposed to be afraid? Never mind. It doesn't matter. You asked about the food in the cellar? It's getting to be about that time. Wait, and you will find out. What are you... It's here. Oh! If you want to know where my supplies come from, open the door. But, I'm in hiding. There's no one at the door anymore. It's DoorDash. The knock is nothing more than a signal. A signal? The white-haired girl turned towards Michael to press him for more information, but he averted his gaze. "Find the answer yourself," he seemed to be saying. She took several moments to gather her will, then marched over to the door. "It's Uber Eats. They've brought us 2 Big Macs. Have you ever had a McFlurry?" So bright. Giselle, would you like the Big Mac or the 10-piece McNugget adult Happy Meal? They make toys for adults now. A little creepy, I admit. The sunlight, which she had not seen in some time, was so bright it seemed to burn her eyes. Although the sun itself had not gotten any brighter, she had simply spent so much time in the darkness her eyes were no longer accustomed to that much light. The color of her eyes made them quite sensitive to light already, so when she stepped outside, her whole world went bone white. Yeah, they made adult Happy Meals, but it's like, it's some collaboration with like an artist. Like some, I forget the name, but it's just like a fucked up version of Grimace and a fucked up version of Ronald McDonald and the Hamburglar. Here, I'll show you. Let me save it, 1 sec. Here. They just like, it's just a Happy Meal, but you get a Big Mac instead of a kid's burger. And the actual toys are this. 1 second. It's all fucking web peas. I'm gonna have to save this GIF so that it's a web pea. I'm gonna blow up web pea. I'm gonna blow up the web pea offices. I can't do it because it's all fucking web peas. Please leave me alone, web peas. I hate them. I hate them. I will destroy the web peas. Is this one? Here we go. Finally. See, it's just like they just took a Happy Meal toy cactus plant flea market. And it's just like, haha, they're for adults now. But yeah, you get like a Big Mac inside. And whatever else. A Big Mac or 10-piece McNuggets. And then you get, you see, like kids can't have these. Destroy the web peas. I couldn't agree more. I'm gonna burn down a McDonald's for this? Oh my god. The color of her eyes made them quite sensitive to light already, so when she stepped outside, her whole world went bone white. The white-haired girl stood motionless for 10, perhaps 15 seconds, and when her eyes finally adjusted to the light, what's this? She noticed 2 adult Happy Meals on the ground at her feet. She turned her head back to ask Michael about the box, but the mansion was so dark it appeared to be wholly severed from the outside world. From where she stood, she was unable to distinguish Michael from the shadows. A pang of nervousness struck her. She wanted to return to that darkness as quickly as possible. The white-haired girl had come to yearn for that world without light, more than the one with. The crate was fairly hefty. The slightly built girl had considerable difficulty bringing it into the house, but eventually she did manage to drag it through the front door. And then, everything went dark once more, except for the faint flicker of candlelight floating in the air. You can leave it there. I'll take care of the rest. What's... Without a word, Michael approached her in the box, withdrawing a knife that he had evidently kept hidden somewhere on his person. With it, he cut through the rope that bound the box. Go on, open it up. At his insistence, she placed her hand upon the lid. She had no idea what lay inside this unexpected delivery. Whoever had brought it was already long gone. Staring at the strange box, she was racked with nervousness. However, what she found when she pushed aside the lid was completely ordinary food. Is something amusing? It was just rather anticlimactic. Here I was, worried about what might be inside. We were just talking about the supplies in the cellar. So we were. It completely slipped my mind. This should last us for some time. It's all preserved, just like what's in the cellar. But I don't understand. Who would deliver all of this to you? There should be a book in there as well. What? Oh, there it is. In the library, he said, that his family sends him one book a month. Does that mean this box came from them? If so, then why did the person who delivered this leave without speaking to him? What happened between him and his family? Is he here because they want him here? Or because he chose to be here? Take the book to the library, please. I will bring the rest of the supplies to the cellar. But it's a big box. I'm sure you could use some help carrying it. That won't be necessary. Take the book and go. But, fine. Then stay here. I'll take care of everything. Oh, wait, hold on, please. What is it? You don't have to answer this if you don't want to, and, listen, I'm not trying to pry, but I can't help but be curious. Say what you have to say, please. I was wondering if you could tell me why you live here, in this mansion. Why did whoever delivered this box just leave before you even opened the door? Could you, perhaps, be imprisoned here? I told you this the very first day. I am cursed. It's only natural for a cursed man to live in a cursed house. Yes, but that's such a vague answer. I don't understand why you're in the situation you are. I don't know how you feel about it. There's so much I don't know. And I'm not even sure if your curse actually exists. I see. That is a perfectly reasonable doubt, from your point of view. Having been branded a witch because of your appearance, it would make sense that you would think my curse might be fabricated or perhaps a metaphor for something else. All right then, come with me. What? I'll show you my curse. As he turned on his heels, the white-haired girl caught a glimpse of what appeared to be a smirk on his face, like the whole thing was some kind of a sick joke. That smile carved into his mask was far colder than any look of annoyance or rejection. But despite the twinge of nervousness, she still followed after Michael. As much as he might have stood out in a crowd with such height and long hair, his presence was almost entirely eroded away by the darkness. She felt that he could simply fade away into nothingness at any moment. And that's where we'll call it. Next week, we find out the curse. And we do the rest of Door 4 probably. I think that's a good a spot as any. Let's save. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. This has been a blast. Hey! Snarkly, thank you so much for the follow. Thank you. I'm not going to miss that. Hey, next week, 8 p.m. Eastern every week. A whole week to think about this guy's curse. He's cursed with these dashing good looks, if you ask me.